Hello everybody, Sean here, and we are looking at the optional bosses for the Dark Souls 2 DLC, the Sunken King DLC. And after you get through the Cave of the Dead, you will find this fog door at the very end, and you'll get here, you'll be ready for a fight. You'll fight a dragon, you'll fight some giant beast, or you'll fight three dudes. And you'll be very upset because no one wants to fight a 3v1 in Dark Souls. That's just not a good time. Well, we are here. We're going to try our very best to get you through it. So, when you get to this fight, of course, be prepared going in. Having healing items, having as much healing items, as many harass items as you can, like throwing daggers, that kind of stuff. I mean, that's always good to have. And in fights like this is an endurance fight. This is a fight that's going to go on for quite a few minutes. Having that stuff can be very, very helpful. But let's take a look at this actual fight. So we got three characters. The Afflicted Grave-Robber is the first one, and he is the most, probably I'd say the most aggressive one. He is the medium armored character. He uses two swords usually. Sometimes he'll dual wield, or he'll hold one with both hands. And he's the character right here before me. He is, like I said, the most aggressive typically. He'll get up in your face, along with his friend, the Ancient Soldier. The Ancient Soldier is the guy in the Havel's armor. He's a heavy armored character. He's got a big club. Doesn't really care what you're wearing. He is going to beat you into the ground with that thing. And then the third character is the Old Explorer. They have a great bow. They're going to stay at ranged for most of this fight. Remember, great bows will knock you down when they hit you. This isn't a little arrow that's just going to do some damage. This thing will knock you down if it hits you. So keep that in mind. So how do you want to go about this fight? Well, firstly, let's get a couple things out of the way. The arena you are in is two-layered. The top layer is where you're going to spend a lot of your time. The bottom layer, filled with water, so your movement's going to be a little slowed. And there's also some petrification statues down there, so keep that in mind. If you jump down, it's unlikely you're going to get hit by enough petrify bullets to actually make you turn to stone, but they can hit you and stun you for a brief second. The second thing to note is that if you jump from the second layer to the first layer, so that is if you jump from where I am now down to where the water is, that'll give you several seconds of breathing room, and you'll see me utilize this many times. The reason for this, the computer, or the AI, doesn't like jumping off ledges. They're not for it at all. They would rather walk down the ramp. However, your character has no qualms about jumping off ledges. So jump down, and you'll have 3 to 5 seconds where they can't get to you because they go around and they take the ramp. It's a very good way to get away from the action and try to heal up. The third thing, and this is really for all characters, so when you come into this fight, you're going to be, you've got three characters on you. Who do you go for? What do you want to do? Well, I suggest you go for the Grave-Robber. Like I said, he is a medium armored character. He takes more hits than the Archer, but he takes less, obviously, than the Ancient Soldier. He's fairly aggressive. He hits pretty hard, and he's just generally good to get out of the way. Because of his ability to chain his attacks quickly, because of his just general aggression, he's good to get out of the way. So no matter what kind of character you play as, I do suggest you get rid of him first. Although it might seem easy to get rid of the Archer, I just found that if I went after the Archer, I spent so much time trying to dodge the Archer's attacks that the other two would just get me. So just go for the Grave-Robber first. Now, depending on the type of character you are, might affect how this fight goes. So let's just cover the different characters real quickly. If you are a mage, it doesn't matter hexes, sorcery, faith, whatever mage you are. But if you are a mage, you're basically going to come into this fight and you're just going to kite them around. The arena's fairly large. There's paths that loop around on themselves. Just kite them around. When you see you have a chance, take a shot. Maybe they've missed an attack, or maybe they're just running at you in a straight line. Whatever you need, take the shots when you can. They don't seem to be weak to any one type of spell. However, I wasn't able to test them all as I'm a faith character, so I was able to throw lightning bolts at them. I did reasonable damage with the lightning bolts, but I wouldn't go so far as to say they are weak to faith magic. The Hex is sorcery. I mean, as long as you have high stats, you're going to hit for decent numbers with your spells. If you are a heavy character coming into this fight, you're probably going to have a little easier of a time. You'll be able to block damage a lot better. You probably have a heavy shield that's 100% melee block. Your armor is going to give you a ton of defense, and you probably are using a big weapon. The great thing about big weapons is that they're very good at breaking poise and stunning characters. This is especially true for characters that are humanoid characters because they're much easier to poise break than, say, a giant dragon. So if you have a giant club like this fellow, or you have a giant axe that can just shut a character down, slam them to the ground, that is great, especially if you have one that has like a horizontal arc to it where you can hit multiple characters at once. You're going to have a really nice time during this fight. If you... Oh, man, whoa. Whoa, let's step back a minute. I don't know where that came from. If you are a light character like myself, one tip I do suggest is try to get a big shield. If you have enough strength to at least use a large shield, or even the Drang Lake shield, which blocks 100 melee damage, I highly suggest you use it. Even though dodging is obviously very viable, it's always viable pretty well in every instance of a fight in Dark Souls 2, having this shield just makes the fight a lot easier because you can just deflect attacks. And when you deflect attack with a large shield, it gives you a brief moment where you can swing right here. Perfect. He did the swing, I deflected it with the shield, I was able to take a hit. Of course, dodging is very useful, and dodging can get you into and out of attack range very quickly and allow for this kind of stuff to happen, but it's just very, very useful to have that shield. Otherwise, you're just going to want to kind of play it safe. You saw me, basically, I just kited them around. I took shots when I could. I mean, sometimes the AI will mess up. You saw earlier in the battle that the Afflicted Grave-Robber rolled towards me, missed his attack, and I was able to follow up and actually kill him. So, a light armored character like myself is going to basically do the same thing a mage would, which is just kite them around the arena, do what you can to mitigate damage, and then just pick your shots very carefully. This fight is more of an endurance than anything else. Unlike other fights where it's in your interest to end it quickly or to just get in there, be aggressive with the enemy, and be right up in their face, this is an endurance. This is a boss fight about kiting around, keeping distance, and knowing when it is good to attack and when it's safe to attack. Once you kill them, interestingly enough, you do not get any souls for it. Other than the normal souls, you don't get any boss souls, you just get some items, which is interesting. The Cave of the Dead bosses don't give you any souls, but you do get a reward. After you kill them, a fog door will disappear in the back of the chamber, and you will be able to get these, that item that you saw there, and then this special one inside the chest. This legendary item, surely it must be powerful for killing those bosses, and it's a flower skirt. The mighty flower skirt. But there you go. I hope this helped out. I thank you for watching, and we'll see everyone next time.